Been with my GF for 5 years now. Personal issues with alcohol for a while now. This past year I've managed to kick the habit, but has had a pretty negative effect on my relationship. Before I was sober, me and my so spent a lot of time together, particularly because all I wanted to do after work is get drunk and sit on the couch. To be clear, this was me drinking alone, so never drank much, nor did she push me to drink. I've managed to sober up through distractions, the pursuing of hobbies, joining the gym, joining clean communities, etc. These have all taken away from time with my so, spending most weeknights one on of these, and some time on the weekends. I want to give my so more time, but the fear is that, if I sit home I will backslide. My so is mainly a homebody, is difficult to get her to do much else. Not sure how to handle the situation. Could use some help/advice? If anyone has been through something similar. TL. Doctor, less time spent with so is putting strain on relationship. Fear of spending more time sitting home with her will cause me to backslide. How handle? It's very understandable that an early stage of your sobriety involved distracting yourself as hard as possible, but keeping myself out of the house constantly isn't a long-term solution. You're going to have to learn to spend low-key time at home again. Try something small, maybe a show you watch an episode or two of together every week, or some part of your hobby you can practice, or do at home, or some part of *HER* hobbies that you get interested in, or cooking for her one night a week, or having a friend over. Thanks for the advice. You're right, long term I need to be able to have a low-key night, and that doesn't involve getting drunk. You have to recognize that the time you used to spend with your so wasn't really time either. You were simply there physically but not present or active with her. If she's a homebody, then start planning activities you can do with her at home. Cooking together / watching a series or movie, playing games / hosting friends. You need to confront your fear of backsliding. If you stay home, your home should be a safe space. This is a really good point and good way of putting it. Thanks. If in the past 5 years you never did things out and together, you can't expect her to change overnight. What do you want? Do you want her to join you in a hobby? Do you want to take turns planning date night? You'll need to tell her this, and you'll need to start slow. Like a few others said, you're going to have to spend time at home sometimes, so you need to confront the **** you're trying to distract yourself from too. First, congratulations on staying sober. Understandable that part of your recovery is distracting yourself and pursuing healthy alternatives to just sitting around and drinking. Hopefully your partner would be on board and supportive. How compatible are you then? Does she not share in any of your interests? Exactly what do you two do together? I guess it's time to have a conversation about what you both see as a future together. What life goals you each have, and if you're both on board together. Thank you. Quite honestly, I'm starting to think through all this, if we really are compatible or not. We really don't share too many hobbies. I have mine, but she really doesn't have any of her own. During the week she spends her time watching TV shows that I have no interest in, TLC type shows. I saw my future with her, but if I'm being honest, since sobering up I've found my time with her to be pretty boring. But I'm not sure if this is just an adjustment. I guess this depends on a few things. Do you enjoy spending quality time together on the couch at home, or do you find that you're disinterested and bored now that you're sober? Because that's the main thing you need to decide, is if you're still compatible with your GF and enjoy being around her without the alcohol. If yes, then you have a couple of options. Doing an activity together at home, cook together, play a board game, do a hobby together, or asking her to join you on more activities out of the house. If no, then you should break up. Really great point. And this is my fear. Right now I try to get her to join in on things, to go make friends or find her own hobbies, but she has just been content sitting home watching TV. On the weekends she is more open to doing things, but overall have found myself more and more disinterested. Something I need to give a lot more thought to, and feel out a bit longer to understand if this is what our relationship will now look like. So what you're saying is sobering up has had nothing to do with the so-called negative effect on your relationship. Rather, you haven't figured out how to be present in your relationship with her. Keeping yourself occupied constantly isn't the secret to sobriety. Eventually you have to face your inner thoughts and feelings and cravings. Eventually you have to learn how to just be in the present moment. This is a challenge that predates your alcoholism. In fact, you likely began drinking to avoid paying attention to your feelings in the moment in the first place. That's the thing with quitting addictions. Sometimes, if you used to enjoy drinking and X, and you quit drinking, you don't enjoy X anymore, because it's not fun without drinking. Time to find why that you could enjoy without the drinking. Either find new activities to enjoy together with your GF, or maybe it's time to admit that you have grown apart and pull the plug on the relationship. How does your so feel? Do they feel neglected or out of sorts? Do they seem distant? Sometimes people thrive in a relationship in the role of caretaker, but no longer feel a spark or a purpose when their partner overcomes their addiction. Can you and your so come up with at-home hobbies? Walk around the neighborhood, repaint a room, do a jigsaw puzzle, garden, cook, volunteer at an animal shelter, watch new TV shows, play board games, etc. What do you get from the clean communities that you don't get from your so? Can that change? You could try asking an r/stop drinking. They are really supportive, and I bet that someone there has some relevant experience to share. Thanks for the suggestion. I'll give them a shot. Very curious to see if anyone went through similar transition and how things ended up. I was drinking when I met my then ex. After we broke up I went sober and have been for around 3 years. He reached out to me, and whether I was drunk or not, me and him were not compatible even with my sober self. We could not reconcile. I feared greatly needing to go back to drinking because I still didn't know what triggered me in the first place to begin. That feeling of needing to drink. I think you should look at what you think will cause you to backslide just spending time with your so. IDK, I'm not even going to say therapy just yet because I have barely started that myself and still don't know, just giving my experiences. How is sitting at home alone on your couch, spending more time with your so? Am I missing something? I think it's that he drank alone, that is she wasn't drinking with him, but she was physically there. Sounds like you two aren't very compatible. Would either of you be interested in games? Board games, card games, video games, or puzzles are mentally stimulating. If you get into board games, some shops have games you can rent and play at one of their tables. It might be a good way to meet people and find things you like. You could try and find some hobbies that you can do at home. I'm kind of a homebody, sit on the couch sort of person, but I do a ton of sewing, knitting, reading, crafting, etc, so it's not as much idle time. I might be missing it, but I'm not seeing any indication that your so is unhappy with the change. Is she? I'm the homebody in my marriage, and I'm totally happy to have the house to myself for periods of time to quietly do my hobbies. I have nothing to offer in the way of advice. This just reminded me of a country music song that says something to the effect of "you ain't much fun since I stopped drinking." My so is mainly a homebody, is difficult to get her to do much else. Why? There are certain people who are okay being with drinkers. I get the feeling your drinking and laying drunk on the couch was acceptable to your GF. She liked you home doing nothing. Now you are making a life for yourself without her. What is she doing with her life? A homebody can still be active and interesting with hobbies, reading, cooking, having friends over, gardening, learning new things. I had a lot of hobbies before I dated a guy who did nothing but lay around stoned all the time. Maybe she's changed her hobbies to suit *him*, and how he finds her boring. I don't think they're compatible, but I don't think it's necessary to trash her either. Is she at all willing to do activities with you, or does she want to sit on the couch and do nothing? She'll give them a try once in a while after I force her to, but for most part she's a come home from work and sit on couch kind of person. Can't she do any of your hobbies with you? Can't you create new ones together? When at home, can't you try cooking fancy stuff together / do a puzzle / plan a trip, start a craft / home project / vegetable garden? This is really common when recovering from substance use disorder. Sometimes you discover you were only able to connect with certain people because of your substance use disorder. Sometimes you discover people in your life actually contributed to the underlying causes of your substance use disorder, whether because of a toxic dynamic or because you're just not a good fit, and it's really hard to accept that about someone you love. Are you in therapy as part of your recovery? If not, I strongly suggest it. The vast majority of people with substance use disorders were originally self-medicating for underlying mental health issues, and kicking the addiction doesn't necessarily remove the cause of the initial self-medicating. Additionally, the person you are when you're struggling with substance use doesn't always make the right decisions for the person you are when you're sober. A professional can help you sort out what doesn't work for sober you. Best of luck. The perfect solution would be to find a hobby together. Is there anything you're both interested in? Congrats on the sobriety. My marriage fell apart when I got sober. The person I was changed. I loved her so much and tried telling myself it could work, but in the end it was over. I think we became two different people. I didn't want to go out to bars or stay at home isolating myself. I found new hobbies and interest and kind of realized we were never compatible. Only when I was drunk, it seems. This is a big topic that comes up getting sober. I found myself a therapist that specializes in recovery, and it helped a lot with things. Maybe try that too. If you need any support, PM me. I'm 10 months sober now, and with a lovely girlfriend who doesn't drink, and we have so much in common. People drift apart and can still love each other. Some things just aren't meant to be. Very important is also to change your home space around to help reduce triggers and set a new association with your living space. Move your furniture around, paint the walls, change out artwork/decor, or just move them around. Get new glassware that don't have any association with drinking. Get novel candles/scents that you would never use before, etc. Sit in different chairs or switch spots on the couch. This helps more than you think to reset your space. And maybe asking your so to help with this would allow you both to spend time together while working on something beneficial for sobriety. Congrats on getting sober. Okay, so you used to spend more time with her. Was it really quality time if you were also indulging in a bad habit? What exactly do you notice being different about the relationship now? You don't mention any specifics on what or how is worse. Is something worse than it used to be? If it's just that *YOU* miss quality time, there's lots you can do at home with her. Cook, puzzle/game, have meaningful discussions. Also work to bring shared activities elsewhere. Egg game in a coffee shop, picnic outside, etc. The hardest part of sobering up from weed was the downtime at home with nothing to do other than just chilling, because all I can think is like, man, it would be a perfect time for a joint. Of course it's easiest to not want to smoke when I'm occupied. Relearning to have that downtime sober is tricky. Do board game/card game nights with her, movies, cooking, trading massages, snuggles and talking, even just sitting on your phones together and being blobs. If you're not currently in a 12-step program, it's possible that could really help. Finding a sponsor who has been through all of this and is still in the program and staying sober may help you gain some valuable insight on balancing your time a little better. W/out backsliding. Of course meetings take up time, but anything you're doing to stay sober and healthy is a good thing. You may feel like you're being selfish or neglecting your but getting sober is hard work, and staying sober is even harder. Good for you for realizing you had a problem and taking steps to deal with it. Best of luck to you, Opus. I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you. All the advice that I came up with is already given, so I'm just really proud. Board games are your friend, trust me. Did you ever try to include your significant other in your hobbies? Or try to find hobbies that you two could do together that are new? The wife and I tend to try to go fishing every year. In reality, it was one of the main things we used to do when we started hanging out. I also recommend maybe a board game night with another couple, a little bit of D&D, or playing video games together, or at least in the same room. I like the Oculus Quest 2. Go hiking together, go swimming together. I would say hit up some amusement parks, but you'd probably have to sell your left testicle for that. You could go sightseeing, take road trips together, although again that would probably cost you a body part. So I'm assuming you have tried including her in all your new hobbies? If so, maybe you two should look for a hobby both of you can enjoy. Maybe going for walks after work a few afternoons out of the week to just hang out with her and talk. Could you get into mixing non-alcoholic drinks or cooking at home? My sister is several years sober, as is her husband, and they both fell back on making the fanciest coffees and drinks ever. Haha. Having those fun and fancy options / experiments might make it easier to continue to not drink while doing the old activities at home. Other options for hobbies at home are bread making, baking, video games. There are a lot of video games for couples, puzzles, lots of crafting options, and many more as well, I'm sure.